Okay.
Red is on?
Yeah.
I mean, the power. I think
Is red on?
It's on.
Okay.
it's on. Oh, yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to the Holmdel Township Planning Board. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, I hereby announce that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in a notice dated January 23rd, 2021, and amended on July 16th, 2021, and was sent to the Asbury Park Press, Two River Times, The Independent, and posted in the bulletin board and on the main access door to Township Hall, and also filed in the clerk's office and posted on the township's website. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence to honor our military who have been wounded or killed in action, and our police and first aid and fire who keep us safe every day. Zach, would you like to lead us in the pledge as our newest member?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And before we have roll call, Marty, will you swear in Zach? Welcome, Zach. You are our newest member. Mr. Nicholas has stepped off the planning board due to a job commitment, and so we welcome you and look forward to a terrific half year ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, just raise your right hand.
You could probably
Repeat
stand.
after
You want
me.
him to stand?
You can stand, that's great. I, Zach Gilstein,
I, Zach
do
Gilstein,
solemnly swear
do solemnly
that I
swear
will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
and
and to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I am faithfully,
That I will faithfully.
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of a planning board member
all the duties of the planning board member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
So may I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Ackerson?
Here.
Mayor Bontempo? Ms. Tomaso?
Here.
Mr. Foster?
Here.
Mr. Gilstein? Dr. Gilstein?
Here.
Mr. Kastning?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Ms. Plusas? Mr. Santana? Mr. Emma?
Here.
Mr. Daly? Would you like to seat Mr. Emma for Mayor Bontempo?
Why don't we seat him for Committeeman Santana, since
Okay.
Mayor Bontempo has his own person.
Okay.
Okay, and so item number 1 on the agenda is resolution reinstating the in-person meeting of the Holmdel Planning Board. Can I have a motion, please?
Move. Second.
Okay. Do you want a roll call or an all in favor?
Voice vote's fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And now we have the appointment of Planning Board Vice Chairperson. As you may remember, Mike Nicholas was also our Vice Chair. We would like to thank him for his service to the Township and the Planning Board, and as Vice Chair and Environmental Commission Liaison. I think that was his official title. Zach is also taking that title over. Thank you, Zach. And so we, at this time, will need to appoint a Planning Board Vice Chairperson. And if you don't show up, stuff happens, so. Do I have a motion to make Joyce Plusas the Vice Chair?
Motion.
Ron, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Zach. All in favor, roll call, or
I think a roll call.
roll call, please?
Mr. Ackerson?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Dr. Gilstein?
Yes.
Mr. Kastner?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Emma?
Yes.
Ms. Tomaso?
Yes. Boy, won't Joyce be surprised when she gets here. No, actually, she knows. So. Okay, item number 3 is completeness waivers. St. Benedict School amended preliminary and final site plan, number 2021-1. It's block 30.09, lot 6.01, a proposal to install modular classrooms on an existing paved area on the campus of St. Benedict's Church and School, at 165 Bethany Road on the southwest corner at the hello, Vice Chair, at the intersection. You know that, sit down.
We just elected you. Don't disappear.
Okay, where was I? At the southwest corner of the intersection of Bethany Road. Oh, we should note that Joyce is here at 7:06.
The Vice Chair.
The Vice Chair. Mike quit, so you're it. Mike resigned, I shouldn't say quit. Okay, so southwest corner of the intersection of Bethany Road and St. Benedict's Church in Hillcrest Road, and is within the R40-B zone. Applicant also requests a variance for a pre-existing condition of an 88.1-foot side yard setback where 100 feet is required. To our professionals, do you have, I know we have the information, but do you have anything on the completeness waivers?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you very much. We reviewed the application package, we reviewed the applicant's checklist. It included a handful of waiver requests, and I'll read them. Item A7, 20 copies of a reduced plat of the general layout. Item A18, environmental impact report. E4, location description of existing proposed signs. E5, loading areas and dimensions. E7, soil boring information and recommendations. F8, traffic study, including some of the technical issues that goes with traffic studies. And G2, cross-sections and profiles of existing proposed streets. We reviewed those requests, and due to the nature of the application, have no objection to granting waivers for items 2 through 7. Item 1 is administrative, and we would defer that certainly to the board, but recommend the board take any action right now on the waiver request prior to hearing the application. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to deem the completeness waivers, to deem the waivers complete?
Move. Second.
Brian and Bill. Roll call, please.
Mr. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Forster?
Yes.
Dr. Gilstein?
Yes.
Mr. Castaner?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Clusis?
Yes.
Mr. Emmer?
Yes.
Mr. Monaco?
Yes. Okay, thank you. So completeness waivers done. We move on to the public hearing. Item number 4, St. Benedict School amended preliminary final site plan 2021-1. All the same information. And the floor is yours.
If I can just note for the record that the notices are complete.
And all escrows are in place? Great, thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson. Thank you. Daniel Maxwell on behalf of the applicant, St. Benedict. I'm here with Kevin Donahue, who is the principal of the school. We have kindly reviewed Ms. Keller's letter, which calls for some testimony regarding the site plan and other matters, and I'll adduce some of that testimony with your permission.
Certainly.
Mr. Donahue.
Before we,
Yeah. So one thing I want to do is just, the only witnesses you're going to have is Mr. Donahue.
Yes, and I discussed that with the...
no, that's fine. We just
I
want to
just want to
swear
swear
him
everybody
in.
in.
Okay, yes, thank
So,
you.
and then we'll swear in our witnesses at the same time, our professionals. So if you want to raise your right hand and, Kate, Ms. Moen, you guys swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, so
Thank you.
our professionals are sworn in, and so is Mr. Donahue. And Mr. Donahue, just give your spelling of your name and your credentials.
My name is Kevin, last name is Donahue.
Oh, you're the principal, sorry.
Yeah, the
Okay.
principal, Donahue, and I am the principal of St. Benedict School.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Donahue, you're generally aware of, as we just was put on the record, why we're here, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're aware, and you have familiarity with the, obviously, with St. Benedict's and the whole planned sort of use and modifications you want to make to that property, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, why don't you just tell us for the, for everyone, so everyone understands, what's generally what you're looking to install on the property?
What we are looking to install is 2 mobile classrooms. It's going to be 1 unit, as was said, placed on existing paved area. And our plan right now is to put 2 pre-K 3 classrooms on that area. The units will fit or house no more than 12 students a day, 1 teacher and 1 aide, from the times of 8:15 to 2 o'clock p.m.
And what was some of the impetus to, want this change?
Really, we want to provide a service to the community. Due to COVID and what we faced last year, we're looking to increase space and make sure we have enough room to safely and effectively educate our students.
And Just a concern regarding the ADA accessibility points. Will it have ramps? I mean, is it accessible for people with wheelchairs?
Both units are completely ADA compliant, do have ramps, and will have access. There is no parking issues. You know, St. Benedict's has a huge parking lot that is more than enough space for anything. Where these mobile units will be placed is not an area where anyone parks. It will not disrupt the flow of traffic at all. It will not affect circulation of traffic on our property or on any of the surrounding streets around our campus. So it's actually interesting because you could not see where we're placing these from the street. They're completely out of view. They could not be seen unless you were truly looking for them and driving, you know, back behind our school. So they won't be visible by any neighbor or will not cause any disruption or eyesore to the community.
I'm just kind of following along with Ms. Keller's letter, which I thank her for. You know, about how long, what's the sort of plan for this unit as it stands now?
You know, initially our plan was to keep them for 3 years on our property and using them as classrooms, and then hopefully raising the funds and, you know, coming back a little bit. You know, as a private school, as a tuition-driven school, you know, COVID impacted us, and you know, we're looking for any way to, you know, boost our revenue, serve more kids. And, you know, right now I would say 3 years, but, you know, with the uncertainty of the current situation, that could certainly be longer.
There's nothing more permanent than the temporary.
Correct.
You talked about parking a little bit before. How about once consistent with the plan, once this is in place, I'll say asphalt around it.
Correct.
Those are not parking areas, or are they?
It's actually a courtyard where some students will play, will, you know, walk around, do outdoor projects. One thing we did this year, you know, due to COVID, was have a lot of outdoor classes. So students brought camping chairs and yoga mats and things like that and used some of that space, but by no means will there be any parked cars or any drivers in that area.
And as the overall color schema of the proposed modular, is it consistent with what's already there?
It's not. They didn't have the matching colors, but, you know, what we selected was very neutral, very, you know, appealing. I think it's called driftwood gray with black trim, so it's pretty basic.
And is the existing exterior lighting going to be sufficient to service this?
Yes.
So there will be no exterior lighting added?
There's exterior lighting built onto the mobile classrooms.
Okay.
Like an outdoor light, but nothing, no new plans to build anything bigger than that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Donahue.
Thank you.
I don't have anything further.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions from the board?
I do.
Sure.
How are the utilities going to be connected?
Yes, sir. The mobile units are basically just need to be connected to our current campus, our current buildings, and you know, we have plumbers that already looked at the areas. We have electricians that already looked at the areas, and once we get the green light, it's just simply connecting a wire to the current structure and flip a switch.
And the plumbing, there are 2 bathrooms, correct?
Correct. Those we'll have to dig and connect the pipe to the mobile units, but they don't feel as if it's going to be a major issue because they have direct access to restrooms that are inside the school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On the Titan modular drawings that you sent us, on page 8 of 9 is the elevation, but it really doesn't show me anything. It says front elevation, rear elevation, right, left. All I see is boxes. Is it just like
Those windows, there's a door, and there's a door, and a
Right.
door, and a door in the middle.
And it's a driftwood gray color with, is it,
And those are windows, it looks like, yeah.
right, so it's just a flat
Have you-
elevation?
Yes.
No, nothing dimensional,
No.
no?
Is it basically like a modular home that you just kind of repurposed?
It's basically a trailer.
Right.
Okay.
And the best way it was described to me was they're like Legos. And it's two Legos that click together to form two classrooms with the hallway in the middle.
The village school had them several years ago.
And we actually, prior to me becoming
Zach,
principal,
we're old.
there were.
We're old.
Remember that.
There were two trailers already on the property years ago.
But the students will have heat
Oh,
during
yes.
the winter, et cetera. I don't-
Air conditioning, heat.
Bathrooms, or do they have to come back into
No,
the
there's
main?
a bathroom in each of the classes.
Okay.
So they'll only have to go back to school for cafeteria and lunch and stuff like that?
If, that's still up in the air. With COVID this year, we had all the students eat in their own classrooms. So we're still kicking around those ideas. We're, trying to wait as long as we can with this Delta variant and things to see what's the safest and most effective way to service the kids. So it would be, the only reason those 3-year-olds would need to come back in the building would be if we do open the gym up for physical education classes or to eat lunch. Everybody else will travel directly to them.
Are the units secured to the ground so that if you do get a storm,
Yes.
they
Yes,
can't be
There'll
lifted
be
up?
footings and they're secured to the ground.
Thank you.
I noted in the elevation that there's only 2 windows at the corners of the back of the classrooms, which seemed somewhat scarce for natural light coming to these classrooms for these young children. Was there consideration made for more windows in the classrooms?
That never came up, sir.
Seems somewhat claustrophobic.
I don't know. That,
How big is
they're standard size windows.
Yeah, I know, that they're each about 600 square feet,
Yeah.
which struck me that was a big area for just 2 small windows for a classroom.
The courtyard is asphalt currently.
Yes, sir.
There's plenty of room for emergency vehicles to get in there if need be. It looks
Plenty of
like-
room, and the fire lanes are already marked.
Thank you.
I have a question about the placement as well in the courtyard there. Where currently are the emergency exits located on those classrooms that are they located in the courtyard where that building is blocking?
The emergency exits are not. The emergency
Okay.
exits for the current classrooms are located at the end of the halls.
Okay, so where the walkway comes around on that drawing?
Yes.
Those are the ends?
Correct.
Okay. And where will it looks like on the drawing that you guys provided, the Titan modular drawings, it looks like the 2 exits are at the back of the classrooms?
Correct.
One on each classroom?
Correct.
And there'll be plenty of room for those doors to be accessed and for
Absolutely.
egress?
Yes.
In the event of an emergency?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? I do have a couple from Committeeman Santana, who couldn't be here. One you've already asked, the emergency exits for its mobile unit. Will the entrance to the classroom be separate than that of the church? I think you've addressed that, of course.
The church is
On the other side, yes.
side of the property.
I'm familiar with the property, but he sent me these, so got to put them on the record for him. And if so, will you be adopting the same security features that they currently have to enter the church? So the security is going to remain the same for the school?
Correct.
Yes, okay, so the church security is separate and apart from the school security? Well, the church isn't open necessarily during the day.
No, it's
right?
not.
Right.
There's swipe cards, there's automatic locking doors, we get, X amount of dollars from Holmdel every year in security funds that we continuously try to upgrade, our security. So anything that needs to be done will certainly be done.
Okay, so I think that will put Mr. Santana's mind at ease, because he does make a statement that you should have the same level of security that you have at the church and the school for these trailers, and you have the same. Okay, great, thank you. That's all I have.
I have one more.
Okay,
If you
sure.
don't mind. The entrance to the modular unit, is that going to be accessed, it's not going to be connected to the building for
Not
access?
directly.
So you'll exit the current building, and then there'll be a walk?
Correct.
And there'll be an entrance to the
Correct.
modular unit, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you. Kate or Bob, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just to add one more minor comment. We had a note in here about runoff from the temporary structure and whether or not there'd be any kind of an icing issue during the winter, for example. I imagine that's going to be maintained as part of any other part of the campus. Salted, plowed.
We're under contract with snow removal. Our maintenance staff does a phenomenal job, getting the ice melted. And, I can assure you that whenever there is a situation, it will be completely safe and de-iced to make sure those kids can get into the classrooms safely and quickly.
Okay, great, thank you.
I just have, well, first of all, thank you for going through that. I think you did a really good job of addressing everything that I brought up in my letter. And then the last thing I have is just a quick clarification on the existing condition variance that we referenced. There was just some confusion between the zoning table and the survey, where we have it in my letter, and the zoning table was listed as a side setback of 88.1 feet, and it's actually, was it 83?
83.2.
83.2. So that's just really for the record. I'm not sure if that was, previously approved, it's before the zoning, but since it was mentioned as 88.1, we just.
Okay, so it's just a correction of the,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
just for the resolution or the record. So, but I don't have anything further.
Great, okay. Is there any other question? Anybody from the audience have anything to say? Nope, okay. We're not used to that, usually have a lot of hands up. So, okay. Does anybody have any other questions, comments, suggestions? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the application?
Move.
Second.
I'm sorry, who?
Bill?
Brian.
Oh, Brian?
Brian.
Oh, okay.
And
Ron.
She can stay, right?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Atkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Bontempo? I'm sorry, Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Dr. Gilstein?
Yes.
Mr. Cassidy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Bluffsess?
Yes.
Mr. Emma?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen, best of luck. Good
Thank
luck.
you very much.
Good luck in the new school year.
Appreciate it.
Let's hope that
Thanks,
we're mask-free.
How are the enrollment numbers, out of
Doing
curiosity?
okay.
Nice.
We're at 422 right now.
It's up, right?
We're up a little bit.
Oh, good. You're
And that's one of the
demographics.
reasons why we need to do this, just to get
Yeah.
A lot of people want to send them to private school these days, yeah.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Father
Thank
Koch.
you.
Father Gary, I don't know what you call him anymore. I know Miss Dr. Koch, that's my problem.
Oh, okay. I forgot my phone. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Item number 5, Barclay Square.
30 on this?
Yeah.
21 pages?
I know, mine is 18 on my phone. So. Item number 5, Barclay Square at Holmdel preliminary and final major site plan, 2020-1. Oh, look at that, we had 2021-1 and 2020-1. Oh, so fancy. A proposed 6-unit multifamily apartment building and associated site improvements located on Palmer Avenue, Block 52, Lots 17 and 18. Property consists of 6.74 acres of undeveloped land in the AH-MF Affordable Housing Multifamily Zone. 48 of the proposed apartment units will be market rate units, and 12 of the units will be affordable units. The 60 apartment units will be contained in one building. 116 parking spaces are provided. Everyone got the resolution and got the resolution and then got another resolution and then got a final resolution at 3:23 this afternoon.
And that was circulated to council who's here for the applicant, as well as the objectors council, as well as our professionals on that hearing. We had some comments, and the version you're seeing now, I believe, the 3:23 PM version is the final version with the approval of applicant's council, not that we asked for that, and again, no other comments except for some minor comments by our professionals.
And then Mr. Cassidy had a comment or two, and you have something you'd like to add?
No, just a clarification.
Okay.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. And it may not require it, but, the application was submitted under the old stormwater regs, and then the stormwater regs changed, and I think it should be mentioned here that the old stormwater regs
Apply.
apply.
I don't have a problem adding that. Are you okay with it?
No, I don't have a problem with that. I think there was somebody made a comment that it's still, the new stuff still didn't make a difference, if I recall, but it doesn't matter. That's clearly what was applied under the then current stormwater regs, so there's no problem stating that for the record.
Okay. So what,
I'll make that one.
there's a couple of typos, so.
Yeah,
we'll fix
we'll
those
work
too.
off that line,
Yes.
offline.
Mr. Zimmerman, it's very nice to see you without a big red screen behind your head or a big red wall.
Very nice to be here in person. My
Yes.
first public hearing since 2019.
Wow, well, that's wonderful. Glad.
person, okay.
Yes, the first in-person one. I think this is our first in-person one. Well, it's us, absolutely. but
February.
Since a long time ago. I know,
January.
it feels weird. But, okay, so can I have a motion to adopt the resolution with the amendment?
So moved.
Bill, second, Brian. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ackerson?
Yes.
Mr. Forster?
Yes.
Mr. Kastner?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Clusis?
Yes.
Mr. Emma?
Yes.
Mr. Musso?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Zimmerman.
Thank you for all your courtesies
And thank you for your patience. I mean, 5 hearings was a good amount of hearings, so thank you for that.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay. Item number 6, consistency reviews. Ordinance number 2021-24, amending Chapter 30, Development Regulations of the Township of Holmdel, amends and establishes certain development regulations in accordance with the recommendations contained in the 2019 Annual Report of the Zoning Board of Adjustment pertaining to the following sections. Section 30-3, definitions. Section 30-11, enforcing officers. Section 30-63, sheds. Section 30-65, fences and walls. Section 30-69, lighting. And Section 30-96.2, permitted signs. Also amends Section 30-58, easements, to set forth additional requirements and procedures related to establishment, maintenance, and development actions within the township-held easements. Kate,
Yeah, do you want me to run through my report? Or-
you could just tell us in general.
Sure. So yes, as the chairperson just said, this ordinance sounds like it contains a lot. A lot of the changes are relatively small tweaks. But so, as this board might be aware, the zoning board is required to annually put together a report that kind of summarizes the common variance applications that they've gotten, and that's kind of their contribution to assisting the township committee and the planning board with ordinance changes. So this is, many of these, besides the easements, were all contained within the 2019 annual report, which was before my time, but I think that there was just kind of a push to get it done. So that had been adopted last year. And then last month, or 2 months ago, the Department of Community Development, myself and the township attorney and the township engineer all worked together to kind of really make these work with the existing ordinance and just try to even things out. So in general, what the ordinance actually do, I mean, I think that they are consistent with the master plan. And I think one thing in particular that a lot of these changes are intended to do, which makes sense because it did come from the zoning board, is that they're really intended to make kind of life easier for residential applicants, to provide more guidance, to make sure, to really prevent certain variance requests that are common, things like sheds where the size of the structure has to do with the area of the property or the zone. Certain fences regarding basketball courts and tennis courts. One that will have some impact on this board is the amendments to Section 30-69, which is lighting. There was not really a formal lighting ordinance that really set forth requirements for non-residential developments. It was, there was some general things, don't disturb your neighbors.
We know candle height, all that. We've always given a variance for candle. We always have to give the variances for candle.
Yes. So we, and this was the township engineer that Malak was very helpful here. We put together, nothing too highly specific, but we put together some regulations that will apply to site plan developments.
Good.
Which really, I think it limits the height of the. It limits, the height of lighting to, I think, 15 feet. It sets foot candle requirements, and it defers back to the Illumination Engineers Society. I'm sorry, Bob, so you know what I'm talking about, the manual that will really govern. So it should provide this board more guidance when dealing with commercial applications or just site plans that do have a lighting component. And then the last one part there is that the permitted signs were proposed to be modified to allow 2 signs when a business has multiple street frontages, which, I've seen variances from the zoning
Over
board,
and
and I'm
over
sure
again,
you get a lot of those. And there's also, it limits the size, it limits the number per frontage to ensure that there won't be any type of sign clutter. And then the last part of this ordinance is, we call it an overhaul. It's more of a reorganization of section 30-58, which is the easements. The township, which controls township-held easements. So there's been some questions, and some applications to the township committee and some discussion among the Department of Community Development and homeowners in particular who have these easements in their backyard, whether it's, drainage or utility easements, open space easements, conservation easements, who really just had a lot of questions about what kind of relief they could get and how they can go about that. So what this ordinance is intended to do is to really just clarify that and say who they have to go to and how they have to do that. For example, in the case of conservation easements, you have to get approval from DEP before you do anything here, which I think makes sense and should provide more guidance. The other thing that it does propose is to allow fences within certain drainage, utility, or landscape easements, not open space or conservation easements. If the homeowner is willing to enter, or homeowner property owner is willing to enter an agreement with the township that basically says, like, I'll remove my fence if
they need
if
to.
we need to.
Okay.
So that's really it. So it's kind of a lot, but it's a lot of small things that I think will help both boards as well as the Department of Community Development, just kind of be more efficient and provide some more guidance. So, and it's consistent with a number of the goals of the master plan, ensuring a high quality of life, protecting natural resources, and encouraging high quality design. So
Great.
That's that.
So I just need a motion to authorize Kate to send a letter to the governing body that this ordinance is consistent with our master plan.
Actually, I'll send it.
You just send it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion for you to do that?
Moved.
Second.
I turned my eye look back.
Jeff?
Jeff, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Oh, okay.
Who abstained?
Bill abstained. Okay, thank you. Item number 7, ordinance number 2021-25A. It's an ordinance prohibiting licensed cannabis establishments to the extent authorized pursuant to PL 2021-C16. It prohibits licensed cannabis establishments pursuant to state law by establishing Chapter 22 Cannabis of the Revised General Ordinances and amends Section 30-134 Prohibited Uses of Chapter 30 Development Regulations to prohibit all uses requiring licensure under the New Jersey Cannabis Act and/or in violation of said act. Kate.
Okay, so just a little easier. So the Township Committee voted on first reading to adopt this ordinance, which prohibits all cannabis to the extent possible by the state law. And that most of the regulations are contained within a new chapter, which is Chapter 22. But there's also a component in the development regulations, which is really all that we're looking at tonight. And that just adds prohibited use, under prohibited uses, a variety of cannabis establishments as set forth in Chapter 22. So this is also consistent with the master plan. It's in response to a state requirement that everyone at the municipality has to act on it. And so the Township Committee made this decision in the township's best interest and is moving forward with that.
Just for everybody's edification, the decision has to be made by August 21st, I believe.
Yeah.
And otherwise you're banned for 5 years. It's automatically allowed and you're banned from 5 years from changing it. But if you disallow it now, you can change it back in the 5 years if the governing body so chooses.
Yeah.
Good, Ron.
Quick question. The town council nixed this already, so why is it in front of the planning board? Is it just a formality that we have to?
Well, because they're putting it into an ordinance form. So that's why we have to, it's just before us to say it's consistent with our master plan.
Yes,
Okay.
you're not voting on the content
right.
of
Okay.
the ordinance.
We're just saying, yes, it's
Consistency.
consistent with the master plan.
Because like I said, it's mostly contained in a new chapter of the general ordinance, but there is a land use component to it in Chapter 30. So that's what we're looking at tonight.
Thank you.
So Serene, is that basically why they came out and voted? Because you only have them up until that date in August?
Mhm.
Otherwise, so kind of like we had to deal with the
Right.
affordable housing, let's get ahead
Right,
of it.
right, you have to right, you have to be ahead of it, and then you can change it after, but if you don't do it now, then you can't change it for 5
See
years.
a lot of towns doing the same thing.
Yeah, anybody that doesn't want it is banning it to start off.
I think the question is also just that, there's a lot of unknowns with the state law
Well,
that will
just-
get
yeah.
sorted out over the next year or so.
Mhm.
So a lot of towns are taking that step,
Yeah,
at least for now.
so, like, if there's a 2% tax, what you can charge it on, what you can't, it's like very, I'm not gonna say anything. Anyway, so, I need a motion to authorize Bonnie to send a letter to the governing body saying that this ordinance 2021-25A is consistent or not inconsistent? What's the correct terminology, this difference?
Not inconsistent.
It's not inconsistent
Yes,
with our
that's
master
the
plan.
that's the MLUL's weird little language.
Mhm.
I'll move.
Second.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Bill and Zach. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ackerson,
Yes.
Mr. Foster,
Yes.
Dr. Gilstein,
Yes.
Mr. Cassidy,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Palusos?
Yes.
Mr. Emma?
Yes.
Oh, there is.
Mr. Tomaso?
Yes.
So why did we do a roll call on the first, and this one was just a voice vote on the first, and this was a roll call?
Oh, we did a voice vote on the first?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't care, I just asked a dumb question.
You were voting.
I was-
I think it's for variety.
You joined in.
There was a lot of discussion about it, maybe that's what made me vote on it. We can do voice vote, you want to change it, do a voice vote, I don't care. Okay. I don't even pay attention. All right, item number 8, planners report. Oh, you're busy tonight, Kate.
I know.
But this Lennox Court, like, it's constant with them.
I think, one person gets a generator, they all want a generator.
God. Okay, so 469 Lennox Court and 41 Jansky Drive, I feel like there's always in front of us. Yeah.
So this is all within the Regency development, and at the time when the Regency was approved, there was a certain location that was chosen for generators. However, at some point, between then and now, a lot of residents' decks have been built in a different location than was originally intended, or it's either that or maybe that the decks weren't shown at some point, because I think they're optional. But so the way that we've been doing this is that the homeowners have to get approval from the HOA, and then they come to the township for administrative approval from the TRC. And we look at their documentation and, just make sure that they are the correct, obviously construction will look at it next, but we look at their setbacks, we look at, where it's located and where it is with their neighbors. One thing that did not come up with any of these, but does come up, is that they do have to, there is a conservation easement behind some of those homes, and there does have to be a 20-foot setback. Yes. So, but that's the kind of thing that we look at, and these all pass with flying colors. So
Oh,
this is just
wonderful.
an administrative approval to sign off on zoning.
Okay, so do you need a motion?
Yes, to deem it more administratively approved, we can do this vote.
Okay.
Move.
Who said move?
Brian, who else?
Second?
Second.
Oh, Jeff.
Jeff,
Okay.
you're in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Bob, do you have, Kate's done, unless you have something else, Kate.
I do not.
Okay. Bob, do you have anything for us?
No reports tonight, Madam Chair, but I do want to thank the board for the opportunity to sit here, and I look forward to working with you all.
Great, we look forward to, like, it seems like we hired you decades ago.
Yes.
Right, it's like forever ago. So, well, thank you both for being here. Marty needs to go into closed session.
Yep.
Okay, give me 2 seconds.
All right, so how do we do that? Do you want to go into another room and leave this running? We will come back, I believe. Perhaps.
You could do that administrative, we don't have to come out
We don't have to come out?
to do.
Okay.
Shut this down? Just come out.
I think, all right.
We can leave it. We may come out.
So should we go upstairs to the meeting room and have closed session there and just leave this running with, like, I don't know, is there a way to make a note?
Oh, Susan,
Can't you just stop the recording?
Can you stop it and start it again?
And stop the, stop the streaming.
Or, okay, wait, let me just consult with my attorney. We're just going to go in the other room and leave it running, and anybody who's watching, we should be maybe 4.5 to 6 minutes.
That's specific.
It's pretty tight timeline.
It's a tight timeline. Well, maybe 7.5 minutes. So we're just going to step out.
Back
You go
the
into the hallway,
timer.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be right back, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, want me to take it now?
You guys can go home. Unless you want to entertain people while they wait.
Yeah.
Yes, you're good.
Thanks.
Okay.
The yellow highlights. If you have a question for me.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Ever. Nice to meet you.
I will.
Are they opposite north or south?
They actually just left for Charleston today. They've been up, but they'll be back for in a couple of weeks, I think. So, yeah, it's good to see you.
Yep.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you. Hope you're watching.
There's a Yankee game on, and Mets brought it on.
Oh, yeah, nothing.
Oh, darn, 11 minutes. I was way off. Sorry, folks. That just means we're very thorough. Okay. We're out of closed session, back into open. For the attorney.
There's another one floating around.
I used the bond.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The matter was litigation, and, go ahead.
Okay, so just a quick motion. The Holmdel Family Apartments is coming to a resolution soon, hopefully at our next meeting. There'll be another if we get that far to approve that, and then there'll be a full-blown hearing. They call it a Whisper in Woods hearing, all public, on public notice and everything else. We just are asking that a motion that our professionals that reviewed the current plan that has been appealed review the settlement once it is final to advise us before we sign off on the settlement agreement. So we're just
And to
looking for
also
that.
let us know if it's a substantial change.
Yes, and then to let us look at whether the proposed changes are substantive or not, because that makes a distinction as to whether they will continue on or the new professionals will continue on.
That's the motion.
Second.
Well, who's
Make
first?
the motion.
Moved.
Second.
Ron.
Brian and,
Ron.
I'm sorry.
I know you're used to seeing the screen light up, so you know which one it is. Maybe we should bring a little flashlight with him.
Or a wave.
Roll call?
Mr. Ackerson?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Dr. Gilstein?
Yes.
Mr. Cassidy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Palusas?
Yes.
Mr. Emma?
Yes.
Ms. Tomasa?
Yes.
We could do like a Hollywood Square thing. We all get squares.
Yeah.
And we light up.
Is there anybody that has anything good for the good of the order?
So do you want to leave August 17th on for now, or are we canceling it and we'll schedule a special if needed?
Well, I'm not going to be here.
Okay, and
You probably won't be there.
it is my 45th wedding anniversary, so.
Same like the knee surgery. I don't think either of our husbands will go, yeah, planning board's more important.
So,
Do we want to?
If it's only the one issue, it'll be a 10-minute meeting, just if that means anything to you. But if
Okay.
not,
Okay, so why don't we hold off and see,
Okay.
who's our, it would be you.
Can't we do that one by Zoom? You can't go back?
Oh, I guess we can go back if we.
I think you did the
No, we
notice.
can't go back.
All these
Yeah.
notices.
All right, no, we can't go back.
How dare you?
Just try to make life easy,
No,
you
okay,
always want to turn back time, right?
just for this one.
all right. We'll figure it out as it gets closer. If we
Right.
need to cancel it, we can. Okay. Zach,
to adjourn?
Dr. Gilstein, welcome again.
Thank you.
I hope your first meeting was enjoyable.
Yes.
They're only going to get better.
Experience. Oh, sure.
And welcome, and let's look forward to a great rest of the year and no more masks and all that stuff. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn?
Move, fine.
Second.
Oh, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Now, let's turn that off before,
Stop recording.
no, we have
Did you s-
I didn't do that.
oh, okay, so I have to.
I know.
I need a bigger screen.
I had to make sure my daughter's getting picked up.